About 2 years ago, I made a video on the 7 deadly sins of an athlete. Now, I'm making a 7-part series where we're going in depth on every single sin, talking about the nature of them and how to defeat them. A good 99% of you guys that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you wouldn't mind hitting the sub and turning notifications on, I'd really appreciate that. Alright, thank you. Enjoy the video.
A judge today ordered former San Ysidro High School basketball star Mikey Williams to stand trial on 6 felony gun charges.
Durant has been suspended for a second time after once again appearing to flash a gun on social media.
Things to try to save your life as much as mine. Only you're too stupid to know it.
Pride in biblical terms is defined as an excessive love of one's own excellence, an inordinate self-esteem, and an arrogant belief in one's own superiority. It's often seen as the worst sin out of all 7 deadly sins. It's seen in this light because pride is the root of all sin. It's where sin became sin in the Garden of Eden, as C.S. Lewis wrote. It was through pride that the devil became the devil. Pride leads to every vice. It is the complete anti-God state of mind. And today we're looking at how pride can lead to the downfall of an athlete's career and ultimately even their own life. Today we're looking at the story of Delonte West. Born on July 26, 1983 in Washington, D.C., Delonte West grew up in hardship surrounded by instability, poverty, and internal darkness. From an early age, he battled with depression and self-harm, and he even attempted suicide before he reached his adulthood. But basketball gave him an escape from all that, from the depression, anxiety, and just things that he went through in his life. West rose through the ranks at Eleanor Roosevelt High and eventually became a star at St. Joseph's University. His backcourt partnership with Jameer Nelson was legendary, and in 2004, his dream became true when he was selected in the first round of the NBA draft by the Boston Celtics. And when West got to the league, he played his heart out, bringing the fire and hustle to the Celtics, Sonics, Cavs, and Mavericks. But behind the court smiles and big shots was a storm brewing. In 2008, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a condition that kind of explained many of the mood swings and paranoia and just outbursts that had begun to surface and behaviors he began to exhibit. Yet, even as cracks showed, West kind of doubled down and didn't seek help, but kind of more tried to play the side of keeping up appearances to the public. Though West never became like a superstar, he made over $16 million in his NBA career, which is more than enough for any American to live comfortably for life. But the money didn't last, where he spent recklessly, he lacked financial structure, and eventually just found himself without a safety net. After the NBA, he bounced to the G League, to overseas contracts, but never adjusted to life after the spotlight. He never really adjusted his financial position or wanted to admit that he was failing and that he was struggling. By 2016, the public began seeing viral footage of West in alarming states where he was homeless, he'd be incoherent, broken, just babbling like random things. But in 2020, Mark Cuban picked him up at a gas station and personally paid for his rehab. The world hoped for a turnaround, and for the first time, things looked up for him. He trained, he cleaned up, and even attempted a comeback through the Big 3 league. But between 2023 and 2025, he was arrested multiple times for trespassing, resisting arrest, and drug-related issues. Despite support from the basketball community, Delonte remained in this just like endless cycle of drug abuse that he couldn't get out of. Delonte's story kind of speaks on first being a product of his environment. He was unfortunately born to like a bad spot, a bad environment where he struggled from the start. And while that played a major role into who he came to be, what ultimately led to his downfall was his pride. It blinded him to his decline and kind of made him reject wisdom from others, accountability, and even support. Even after being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, he tried to carry it alone. He wouldn't ask for help. And wouldn't adjust his lifestyle because his pride just whispered that doing so meant public failure, and he didn't want to be seen in that light. So he just wouldn't cut back. He resisted and tried to maintain this image and lifestyle and the illusion of control after the foundation crumbled beneath him. Pride kind of has a way of blocking your growth as well. It keeps you stagnant, and it makes you feel that no one can tell you anything. Like, it isolates you, first mentally, emotionally, and then eventually physically. In Delonte's case, it started by rejecting advice and ignoring warning signs, but that pride slowly rooted itself deeper and deeper, leading to his recklessness, his denial, and ultimately his self-destruction. That's why pride is so dangerous, because it's literally the root of everything else. You commit gluttony, lust, wrath, all the other things because you think that you're above correction. So you think that all these other things are okay. It's literally the root of all the other stuff. Delonte's tragic fall shows exactly why pride is called the original sin. It turns your heart away from humility and slowly convinces you to be your own God. Delonte West had talent, opportunity, and grace extended to him, but pride kept him from stepping into the healing that was offered to him. And that's the warning. No matter how gifted or blessed you are, pride will poison your future if you don't check yourself and surround yourself with people who aren't just going to tell you what you want to hear and keep feeding your ego. It keeps you stuck. It makes you unteachable, and in the end, it leaves you broken, alone, having chosen a life on your own terms and to lean on your own understanding instead of the understandings of those who know better than you. The first part of all this is recognizing that you are prideful, and then learning the difference between pride and confidence, and eventually replacing unhealthy pride with healthy confidence. We could talk all day about the difference, but the short answer is that pride will put others beneath you. You'll stand on the backs of others, and it'll put you on a pedestal. That looks like, quote, "I'm not putting away the tent or cleaning up. I don't have to clean up because I'm simply better than the JV kids and better than others." Confidence is quite the opposite, where someone who's confident is still going to help clean up. They're going to show humility because they don't have to tear anyone down to feel better about themselves and don't have a superiority complex. Humble yourself. Understand that there are people that are much better than you at what you do, that you know nothing, and that you will never know everything. Not to get this confused with just being like negative and putting yourself down. We're thinking more of it as grounding ourselves and being rooted in truth instead of the world of delusion where we're the best and no one else can touch us. When you have a rational view of how good you are at something, or just who you are in general, and constantly anchor yourself in that truth, you deflate the negative parts of your ego and self-view, and all that you have left is confidence from there. Seek wisdom and feedback from others. Being able to take criticism from others and advice and wisdom in a respectful way is the acceptance of help from others. You will not get far leaning on your own understanding of things. Seek wisdom, seek understanding, seek advice, and ultimately seek multiple perspectives than your own.